All right, so even before Neil Druckmann had confirmed that they had been working or at least thinking about a Tommy prequel game, I had thought that this game made a lot of sense, that after part 2, it felt like in some way or another that we would get a Tommy DLC, whether it was us following him and his journey to Seattle and all that happened with him there, whether it was a prequel. It just felt like that was going to happen. And so now Neil Druckmann has confirmed that Naughty Dog was going to make a Tommy prequel game or a Tommy sequel game dealing with his trauma from losing Joel, but that they dropped it, but still feel like the story is for sure, he says, going to be told, whether it is a game or whether it's DLC or whether it's in the TV show, that story that they created and worked on is going to see the light of day. And so I wanted to share with you guys some of my thoughts on what a video game based on Tommy could look like and why we need it. So with that, let's dive into this game a lot of us are hoping for, a Tommy game. So first off, what do I think this game will be? I think it will be the broken down Tommy from the end of part 2, reminiscing on his time with Joel. I think that there will actually be modern day Tommy segments that you play as, and then prequel segments that you play as. And I think players are really wanting this, that people love Joel and would love to see him show up again, and have been really curious as to what those early years look like. And I think the most natural way to do this would be in a game like this, especially because Tommy is so broken. The dude can barely walk. He's been shot in the head. He can't do gameplay in the same way that you can't run around as Tommy and fight a bunch of guys, because realistically Tommy can't do that anymore. He says that at the end of the second game, that the reason why he can't go after Abby is because he literally can't go after Abby, that he needs Ellie to go and do it. And so he's someone who can't fight anymore. So how do you solve this problem then of wanting to tell the story of Tommy wrestling through his trauma and dealing with it, but also have gameplay? The answer is you have the prequel segments that everybody has been wanting as flashbacks, where the gameplay of this game, the core fighting and whatever, is actually done in flashbacks of you seeing Tommy's journey with Joel, going through what they went through. And as Tommy's dealing with the grief in the present day and the burden that he's feeling, you see why he's feeling that burden by looking back at the past and his relationship with Joel. And I think that this would be an incredible experience for gamers to be able to walk around Jackson or wherever as Tommy, be able to interact with other characters, and then go and have flashbacks and be able to play them through as Joel and get a glimpse into that Tommy-Joel relationship and how horrible it was. And I think that that could be a really incredible experience. And to be honest, it's the game a lot of us are wanting and hoping for, and I think we're genuinely going to see it. And so secondly, why do we need this game? I really feel like The Last of Us Part 3 is a while away. I think it'll come out on the PlayStation 5, but I think it'll come out at the end of the PlayStation 5's life cycle. And I think that this game can be Miles Morales type, Lost Legacy type of game, where you're able to make a shorter game that's a little bit more than DLC, but not as big as a full-fledged game, where they're able to give you like a 10-hour story with Tommy looking back on his relationship with Joel, with the gameplay elements. That would be something that Naughty Dog could work on while they're working on part 3 and finishing that off. I think it would be able to hold fans over, and I think genuinely it would win a lot of the disenfranchised fans back. I think that having a game like that would make even The Last of Us Part 2 haters want to pick up this game, because if Joel's in it, they're going to want to see it. And so I just think it makes sense. I think the fan base wants this. I don't think going an insanely long amount of time without anything Last of Us related, especially after the shambles that Factions Part 2 was left in, I think it would really make sense to kind of drop this in here. Considering that the story is fully done, build a game around it. You can build it on the engines you've used for the Part 1 and Part 2 remakes, and be able to expand on this story in a way that's a little bit smaller, that's easier for a team to kind of work with. And then while you're doing that, you have a separate team who's building out and fleshing out the larger, bigger game of Part 3, and also doing a new IP that we've heard about. I think that would really make a lot of sense. Then lastly, why do I think we need this game? I think it's that fans are dying for it. Genuinely, whenever this thing gets brought up, fans get incredibly excited. I think it would be a huge miss to not tell this story, especially knowing it's out there. I don't think doing it just in the show would be a great idea. I think if they were to do it, you'd be like, well, that's fine. But I really think that this is a story that the original fan base of the games deserve to play through. And I think it would be a really interesting story to play through and to be able to see and experience what's happened with Tommy and to be able to play through some of the traumatic things him and Joel did and to get a better glimpse at that relationship. I feel like if they just left it to a one-off TV episode or even like a short spin-off Tommy show, I really just don't think it would do it justice. I think gamers are really excited about this story and really want it desperately. That whenever I see a Last of Us comment section, everybody is talking about this game, even when it's not about this game. And so I think it would be a huge miss to not take advantage of this opportunity, especially if it's already out there. And now that they solved some of the crunch issues, I think Naughty Dog would be foolish to not turn this into a game like they were originally planning. And so I do think it'll see the light of day. I think that we as fans really want this and feel like we need this. I think as Naughty Dog as a corporation, I think they look at this and go, yeah, we want to tell this story and we want to tell it in a video game. And I could really see it as being more than just DLC. I really do think it'll be a Miles Morales Lost Legacy kind of game where it's a little bit cheaper, it's a little bit shorter, and it's to kind of hold off fans for the bigger game that's upcoming, just like how Miles Morales held off fans for Spider-Man 2. I think that'll be what this thing is, but I guess time will tell. But with that being said, those are some of my thoughts on this Tommy game. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think Naughty Dog is actually going to make this? Do you think they're just going to leave it to the TV show? Neil Druckmann confirmed himself that this story is going to see the light of day. Do you think it'll just be a short DLC? Do you think it'll be its own game? Let me know in the comment section down below. And what do you think this game will look like? I strongly believe that it's going to be modern day Tommy having flashbacks like Abby and Ellie did that are playable of his time with Joel, but I could be completely wrong in that. But I think that that is a game that makes the most sense. It sounds like the story that they wanted to tell. So let me know some of your thoughts in the comment section down below. What would you like to see from this story? What kind of elements would you like explored? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, all that junk, and I will see you guys in the next one.